Let me ask you guys something. Have you ever been in a bind and not really sure what initiator you want to pick, but you know your team needs someone to give you info? Well, let me tell you, Sova is going to be your #1 pick for you. Maybe you want to try something new. Maybe you just want to try out someone else and get a fresh feel for the game. Follow us on this Sova lineup tutorial on Bind, and we will show you the best post-plant, retake, and everything else shock dart and recon darts that we can give you. Once your team decides what site you're pushing and you decide if you are going to go ahead and split push, if you are pushing from showers and want to go ahead and shoot another recon here, this one is going to be pretty good to check all of backside. What you're going to want to do is, again, make yourself a tiny bit exposed to this angle right here. Just be aware that there could be an enemy holding right there on tank, assuming that your team is pushing from main. There shouldn't be anyone holding right there, but just be aware of that. So what you're going to want to do is, again, just give yourself the tiniest amount of exposure possible, making sure you know where the enemy is, or making sure, you know where your teammates are.
Revealing area.
Give it a good shot right there, and this is going to give you, as I said, a wonderful view of backside, making sure that there is no enemy holding that corner right here or holding behind tank. Again, just be aware, it does not cover this area right here in between this box and this wall. So just make sure you have your enemies, or your teammates, again, pushing from A short in order to make sure that you are not getting clapped like a Thanksgiving turkey. If you and your team are deciding to push the A site on attack on bind and you want to get some good recon info on the site, these two recon darts pushing from A main are going to be your best friends. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you have your these two walls connected like so, not showing too much of that A, just showing exactly like that. Then from there, you're going to want to make sure that your crosshair is directly connected to, or directly parallel to this line under this orange light. From there, you're just going to want to go ahead and do a full charge, let it go. And this one is going to be a pretty simple one. The enemy might destroy it immediately, but if not, you can make sure that there is no enemy holding this close corner with a shotgun, holding over here with a shotgun, or right here in lamps. If the enemy is destroying the dart that you go ahead and put right here and you want to change it up a little bit, we have another recon dart here. This one, again, is going to expose you a little bit more, so just make sure you have your team taking a look at A main with you. But from here, all you're going to want to do is take a look at these two little solar panels like so. You're just going to want to make sure that your crosshair is in the middle of them, maybe a tiny bit higher than the middle, but not too much higher. Give yourself another full charge, let it go. And as you can see, it is going to land like so. This one is going to give you info again, making sure there's no one right here, as well as making sure no one is in this deep corner as well. And depending on how you get the arrow to land, it can also give you a decent amount of info telling you where they are close to lamps, as well as letting you know if they are right behind tank or holding outside tower. As always, when it comes to recon darts, you're going to want to make sure that you change up the variety of where your recon dart is being placed. Depending on the enemies that you're playing and the skill that they are, they might be able to predict where your shock dart is going to be shot at, so they might immediately destroy it, giving you no info whatsoever other than the fact there is at least one enemy somewhere on site. So with all of these recon darts, be sure to mix it up from time to time, and also be sure to slightly change the angle of where you're shooting it. That way the enemy will have a little bit harder time shooting it, and maybe you can get at least one scan. Moving forward with some post-plant shock darts here on the A side of bind, we're going to show you this first double shock dart lineup that will be wonderful if you have gone ahead and planted it on default. And that is going to be right there on tank. If you have it planted somewhere around there, this lineup will be wonderful for that. What you're going to want to do, set yourself up in this little corner like so. From there, you're going to want to take a look at this little panel edge. Take a look at the middle of that panel edge. Pull out your shock dart. What you're going to want to do is have the first diamond of your shock dart be about halfway into that panel. Then from there, you're going to want to give it a 2 charge in the middle of the second bar like so. Doing that, launches it, puts it right there on where you planted. Second shock dart location, you're going to want to then move your crosshair a little bit lower from where your diamond was. You're going to want to put it in the middle. This time, again, with your crosshair, you're going to want to put it in the middle of that plate right there. And just a simple tap of your shock dart like so. And altogether, this is what it would look like. You get ready, you start to hear them defuse. Maybe your teammates start to let you know that they're defusing.
Shock dart.
And the double shock dart lands right there. Again, it is a bit of a fast one that you have to do, so just be aware of that. Let your team know what you're doing. Let them know what you're up to. Keep them communicating. Let them let you know when the enemy is going ahead and defusing, and this should be a wonderful, easy kill for you. Our next shock dart lineup on A is going to be if your team has gone ahead and planted it right outside of showers right there. This shock dart is going to be perfect if you start to hear the enemy team push onto site. What you're going to want to do is put yourself in this little corner next to plank, the cardboard, and the box right here. From there, you're going to want to take a look up and look at the biggest gap area between these leaves on the wall. You're not going to want to go to that one or to that one or to the ones below. You're going to want to go to this one right there. That one is going to be very crucial for you. From there, you're going to pull out your shock dart, and it is just a simple 3 charge.
Shock dart.
This shock dart is going to take about 6 seconds to get to where you are shooting it. And as you can see, it is going to land perfectly right there for anyone who is on the bomb or even just standing around it on any of the sides. So be aware of how long the dart takes for it to land and play accordingly. Now, this next shock dart for A is going to be a bit of a finicky one and is going to require your team and you to communicate. So make sure that you have a team that is communicating. If you have someone on your team like I Miss Her E-Girl 69420, this might not work out so well if they are not communicating with you. But assuming your team is communicating and letting you know if they are pushing onto A and starting to plant default. Again, default is right here on tank. You are going to want to put yourself in the middle of this box. Take a look at this shadow right here next to this purple line. You're going to want to specifically take a look at this line like so. Pull out your shock dart. You're going to want to make sure the top left side of the bar is interacting or intersecting with that shadow like so. From there, it is just a 3 charge and pull. This one is going to take about 6.5, 7 seconds for it to get there. So be aware of that. If the enemy has already started planting, might not be a good idea to go ahead and do that one. But if your team is communicating with you efficiently and letting you know if they have just gotten on site, this shock dart is going to be wonderful for helping your team out on A. Now, conversely, from our other attacking shock darts, if you would like to stop the plant on tank side right around here, this shock dart is going to be beautiful for you. Again, this is going to be on defense, looking at A site. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you have yourself up heaven side. Take out shock dart. Make sure that you have your cursor, or excuse me, your crosshair below this little yellow light. If you put it too far to the left, it won't end up getting the full way. So make sure you have it exactly where I have mine, like so. Give yourself 2 bounces, a full charge. Once you let it go, bounces off that and lands right there perfectly where they should be planting. Now, again, I know it is a bit finicky when it comes to this shock dart. So just as an example, this is what would happen if you put it too far to the left. It won't bounce off this wall properly because of the weird polygons. And so it'll end up landing right here, getting you no added value. If the enemy is pushing out shower side, and again, you are defending on A side, you are going to want to put yourself in heaven again for this next shock dart position. Same exact place as our other shock dart from heaven, except this time your cursor is not going to be over here. Instead, it is going to be right here in between these 2 little wall plates. You're going to want to make sure that it is at the very bottom of this connector. Give yourself 1 bounce and give yourself a 2 charge.
Shock dart.
And as you can see, it is going to land perfectly right there, giving not only the planter a decent amount of damage, but if any of their team is around him trying to cover him, you are also going to damage them as well. Over towards the B side of the map on attack for bind, if you are going to want to get some info in hookah, this recon dart is going to be perfect for that. What you're going to want to do is, before the round starts, put yourself in this little corner with this wall right here. From there, you're going to want to take a look at this little sign post thing right here. You're going to want to take a gander at the far left side of it right there. Make sure you have your recon dart out. Make sure the second diamond right there is just touching the left side of that little thing. You can give yourself 1 charge or 2 charge on this one, or even 0. It's entirely up to you depending on how far deep you want to put it into hookah. Obviously, the more bounces you give it, the deeper it's going to be in hookah, so just be aware of that. So you want to go 1 bounce, and then you go ahead and round goes and starts. From here, it is a simple just click and release like so. Bounces in, drops in right there, and lets you know if anyone is holding these 2 corners with shotguns or if there is a turret. But also be aware, with that 1 bounce, it is not going to reveal anyone in that corner or this corner. So when you and your team are pushing it, just be aware of that, and you should have no problem taking hookah. Now, conversely, if you are deciding you want to push up long with your team, maybe you have a couple of your teammates with you, maybe you're the only one long, I would maybe recommend at least having 1 person with you, but we will go ahead and show you some recon darts and some shock darts that'll hopefully get you some good info and some good kills. First recon dart, you're going to want to give yourself a decent amount of exposure to sight. Again, if you have a teammate in hookah or anything covering you, make sure they are taking a look there. But you're just going to want to make sure that you are taking a peek at the middle of this intersection of the ceiling. Pull out your recon dart, give yourself a full charge, let it go. This one, much like our recon darts from hookah, is going to expose anyone backside and especially anyone in this corner right here. If your team suspects or knows someone is in tube and you want to go ahead and flush them out and take care of that, these 2 shock darts are going to be wonderful for that. This time, you are going to want to not expose yourself to this corner right here. If an enemy is holding that, you will be absolutely decimated. So again, just make sure you are covered from that. You're going to want to, again, line up your crosshair directly in the middle of the blue paint and the white paint on the wall. Pull out your shock dart. Give yourself a full charge on this, except this one is going to be a bit up to you if you want to give yourself 1 bounce or 2 bounces. Give it at least 1, but 1 or 2. Full charge it. Let it go. And as you can see, the 2 bounce one lands right here, and if anyone is holding this angle trying to peek hookah, they will get some decent damage done to them. Or, if you would like to go ahead and give it 1 bounce,
shock dart.
If they are just sitting in the middle waiting for movement or waiting to hear you guys push out, that will move them either left or right, and hopefully, if they move left or right, you or your team will be ready to get the kill. For attacking on B, if you and your team are pushing hookah, or at least some of your team, and you want to go ahead and get some info on site, what you're going to want to do is put yourself in this corner next to the teleporter. Be aware that anyone at any time could peek from that teleporter, so just take a listen, make sure you know. Take a look at this little white rhombus type thing, little trapezoid like so. What you're going to do then is take a look at the middle of it, trace that line all the way up to the tippy top of the roof. Pull out your recon dart, and a simple 2 charge is all it takes.
Revealing area.
This one is going to traverse all the way through here, land right here, and it is a wonderful, wonderful dart. If they don't know it's coming, you are going to be able to see if the enemy is even a little bit in the tube right there. If there's anyone there, obviously back sight, a little bit of elbow, as well as under hookah and around there. Now, while that dart may be one of the best on this site, obviously the enemy, after a couple of times using that dart, they might begin to understand where it's coming from and might shoot it immediately. So if they are starting to do that and you can make your way into hookah, this one is going to do just about the same job, but a little bit quicker. You just go ahead and shoot it like so. This lets you know, again, if anyone is back sight in this corner like here, or even holding behind these green boxes. If your recon dart didn't tag anyone backside, but it ended up tagging someone in this corner right here, for a shock dart to go ahead and flush that person out, what you're going to want to do is take a look at that little down arrow like so. Line up your crosshair just to the right of the right side of the peak of it, like that. Pull it out. Give yourself 1 charge and 1 bounce and a full charge. Let it go. And because this little thing is at an angle, it is a bit angular, it is going to bounce and destroy anyone immediately in this corner. So even if the enemy decides to push out of that corner once you do that shock dart, if you or your team are taking a look at sight, you will be able to pick up a very easy kill as they are frantically running around with a chicken with their head cut off. If you still have your recon dart after pushing into hookah and you know there's an enemy somewhere around 2, but you're not sure exactly where, this recon dart is going to be perfect for that. You're going to want to go ahead and make sure, again, you are not exposing yourself too much to elbow. You're going to want to go ahead and give yourself 0 bounces and a simple full charge, making sure your crosshair is lined up with the middle of the separation of these 2 boxes. And just give it a little pull like so.
Revealing area.
This will let you know if there's anyone in this tube, and you and your team can go ahead and let loose. If either of the recon darts you shot onto B have tagged anyone back sight and you want to maybe throw a couple shock darts their way as well, these are going to be wonderful for that. What you're going to want to do, again, make sure that you're in hookah. Don't expose yourself too much. If you can see any of the sight past this little box, you are not doing it correctly, so make sure that you are covered completely from there. Take a look at this little gap in between that pipe and the ceiling of that building. What you're going to want to do is put your cursor somewhere in the middle of that. Give yourself 1 bounce and a simple tap. And you can go ahead and shoot it from anywhere around this area. So you can do it like so. It'll go ahead and bounce, land back there like that. If you want to go ahead and maybe do it a little bit more to the left, you can go ahead and shoot it like that. Bounces like so, goes a little bit further back like that. It is entirely up to you and provides a ton of variety, which is what Sova needs to make sure that the enemy is not predicting where your shock darts or your recon darts are going. When starting out on bind, if you want, from the research I have done, holding B long is going to be your best bet if you want to go ahead and try to build your ultimate as quickly as possible and grab this orb as quickly as possible. So what you're going to want to do is have your recon dart out. When the round starts, all you're going to want to do, we're going to have 2 separate recon dart lineups here. That way, in case they start shooting one, you can shoot the other and vice versa. First one here, again, exposing yourself as little as possible.
Scanning ahead.
Shooting that side of the wall. It reveals anyone who is deciding to either push from right there or from their attacker side spawn, giving you ample amount of time to grab the orb if you spot no one. Second one, if they decide to shoot that one immediately, you're going to want to go ahead and take a look at that big sign back there. Shoot it somewhere in the middle like so. This one, again, giving you about the same info. Making sure that the enemy is not pushing you. Once you scan that and you don't start to see anyone, you can go ahead and grab the orb with no problem whatsoever. Now, if you are the bozo who is deciding to go ahead and sit in tube, and you want to go ahead and make sure that the enemies are not immediately pushing you with no info whatsoever, what you're going to want to do is pull out your recon dart, take a look at this first sign right here, give yourself 1 bounce, try to expose yourself as little as possible. Once you hear anyone jump out of hookah, or once you hear a jet dash onto site, you're going to want to go ahead and shoot this one immediately. Again, this one is a bit time sensitive, so if you do it too late, you will not be able to pull out your gun in time, and the enemy will shoot your face off, so just be aware of that. But when you shoot it, it lands right there, gives you any info for people who are pushing onto site from right here, and as always, the tube is very wall bangable from the left and the right side, so if you see anyone here, you can fire. If you see anyone from the right, you can fire, as well as being aware that they can fire right back. Taking a gander over towards B, if you are going ahead and defending this site and defending in hookah, and you want to go ahead and check to see if there are enemies pushing quickly and fast into hookah, this first shock dart is going to be wonderful for that. What you're going to want to do is make sure that you are standing on this little sofa couch box thing. Again, make sure that you are not standing on top of this thing. It is very easy, to get on top of that thing. So just make sure you are not here. Make sure you are here. Taking a look at our little teddy bear right there. From there, you're going to want to take a look at this square, specifically this first line connecting this square to the wall, or ceiling. And then you're going to want to go ahead and just follow that line all the way down to where it is on the furthest part of the wood. Pull out your recon dart and give it a 2 charge.
Scanning ahead.
It is going to then travel, land right here, and if the enemy is pushing fast, or if there's any enemies around here pushing into their hookah as well, you will be able to know quick and fast. After using that shock dart a couple times, if the enemy is either destroying that one or they are not pushing towards B and you just want to get a little info maybe closer to their spawn, this recon dart is going to be perfect for that. Again, same position right here. This time, though, instead of taking a look at this first line on the right, you're going to want to go ahead and take a look at this second, a little bit lighter line on the left. Same little trick. Follow it all the way down to the edge of the wood. Pull out your recon dart, and instead of a 2 charge, you're going to go ahead and give this a 3 charge.
Revealing area.
This will travel all the way over here and land right there in their relative spawn. It is going to let you know if there is anyone just holding right here in B link, or let you know if they're pushing more towards A link. This arrow is very, very wonderful if you are just trying to get info for your team and not peek immediately. Another fun and interesting to do with Sova at the beginning of a round when you are holding B is this wonderful double shock dart lineup outside of hookah if you want to go ahead and scare the enemy team, or maybe do a fair amount of damage before they even start to see you and push into sight. This is going to be perfect for that. What you're going to want to do is put yourself in this corner right here on sight. Make sure you are aware of your little shock dart symbol. Make sure you have the tip of your shock dart symbol on the edge, on the very tippy edge of this wall. You're going to want to make sure the shock dart symbol is lined up like so for your first shock dart. From there, you just give it a 3 charge. Let it go. This is going to take about 5.5 seconds for it to reach right there. Second shock dart you're going to want to do, again, this time, instead of the arrow for your shock dart, the icon, you're going to want to take a look at the 2 mouse icons and the line in between that mouse icon. What you're going to want to do is take a look at that little orange part and this line right here, and make sure that the mouse icons are lined up just below that orange part of that pole. This one is going to be a 2 charge, and it's going to take about 3-ish seconds for it to land right there. So when you put it all together, it is going to go ahead and give yourself about 5 to 3 seconds in, or excuse me, give yourself about 2 seconds in between each shock dart pull. Obviously, the faster you can do them sequentially, the quicker and the more damage you will do, because it will land a lot faster and the enemy will be way more unaware. But it is going to look something like this. Absolute massive amounts of damage doing it like so. They can go ahead and try to run in this corner if they want, but they will not have enough time if you go ahead and shoot them that quickly. Again, it takes about 5 seconds to get there, so calculate how long it takes for the enemy to get from right here to right there, depending on if they are walking or running, and you will have just a wonderful amount of time getting at least 1 kill. And that is going to do it for us on Bind here for all of our Sova lineups. I want to thank you guys so very much for checking out the video today. You guys are absolutely awesome. I read all of your comments and all the support you guys are giving me, telling me how well you've done or how good you guys have done in a game with these lineups. It means the absolute world to me. It also means the world to me when you guys let me know any lineups that I missed or any lineups that are better than the ones I've shown you. It helps me work towards my next videos and hopefully giving you the best lineups for every agent on every map. Be sure to leave a comment on this one. Let me know if there are any better Sova lineups on this site. Let me know if any of the ones that you used from this video have helped you. And I will see you guys on the next video.